sorry.
That's standard.
I think. Is it? Hold on.
I'm surprised no one did it. That's a regulation. Probably out of the probably 75, 76.
Actually, a
It's
bigger
actually
penny.
substantially larger than the regular penny.
Is it? Wait, in what way?
Yeah. It's very heavy.
She's no, she.
Do you think that I don't think there's any greater indication of how bullshit the economy is, and I'm not talking capitalism, I'm just talking like in general, like money as a monetary system. There's no greater indication of that to me than when you hear some article, whether it's true or not, that it costs more to make a penny than a penny.
Yeah.
Because one, like, who the fuck measures such things?
Yeah.
Second, if the person who measures that isn't in charge of also saying we shouldn't do that anymore, what world do we live in?
Yeah.
And how do you not just make it more and then make that the amount? Like we're in like a Spinal Tap moment. You can just make it 10 and then that's the loudest.
Yeah.
You can make it a penny. That's how much it costs. That's how much a penny is now.
Yeah. I feel like someone's got to have a better hold on that than whoever's running it right now. Like,
But
there's
people-
someone in the United States.
People have tried banning the penny.
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I thought they was actually going to be taken out of circulation. I feel like I've heard that a couple of times.
It is
Right.
not often that I find myself using pennies
Humble penny.
ever.
I don't.
Right, so-
Yeah.
Parking meters don't take them for sure.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
The
that's
Penny's
right.
kind of an anti-capitalist.
I'm gonna be so
item.
real. If like I'm sweeping the floor at the venue I work at and there's a penny on the ground, I'm not picking it up and saving it. Most of the time it goes into the sweeper bucket and then into the trash.
What else is in the sweeper bucket? Do tell.
So many
So
things.
much.
So it varies. Great.
Yesterday I found somebody's labs from their latest doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
I returned it to them.
Well, there's no hip. We don't know who it is. Would you mind sharing it with us? Was it good news? Was it bad news?
You know, I wish I knew, but they were too close in proximity for me to actually read through their medical reports. I would have felt morally corrupt having them catch me doing that, so I refrained.
Okay.
I got their name though.
Mad respect for your principles and morals.
Morally
They come in handy
corrupt,
every
though,
once in a
these days is starting to get back in style.
Yeah. I mean, it's punk. It's cool.
Right. Good, Tessa.
Hi, Tessa. Would you, Don, could you elaborate, please, on how morally corrupt is back in style?
Well, basically, people are doing things that are more morally correct. Corrupt. Keying cars.
Who keyed your car?
Nobody keyed my car.
Yeah.
No, my car isn't worth being keyed.
Okay.
But it is happening more and more.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean,
Car theft,
carjacking,
carjacking.
stuff like that. Just people are cheating all over the place.
What
you,
ab-
you hear the IRS has fewer people auditing, and people will cheat more. There's no doubt about it.
What about, like, I just saw, I don't know if this is morally corrupt, you all answer this. I saw a psychic pop up in the middle of where I live. I have not seen any customers.
Oh.
You know, we
Or a tarot card reader.
It's a front. I mean, it's a
That's a,
storefront.
that's a
did
new
that,
thing. Yeah, but it's like they're just sitting in the middle of the sidewalk with a sign.
Oh, it's like a pop up. Yes.
Yeah.
So they're like
Okay.
they're a street vendor, but tarot.
not a permanent
Like not
installation.
licensed, but
Yeah, like I haven't
freelance.
seen that, and I've been here a lot, like years and years.
Yeah.
Well, real estate's expensive. It's probably like a
Yeah.
soft opening. If it goes,
there's a shed in
we're
Manassas.
gonna buy a shop.
There's a
Brick
shed in
and mortar.
Manassas called Jessica's Psychic.
Please tell us about this.
It's on the road. Which road? I don't know. I don't drive a car, so I pretty much just put my blinders on and hope for the best whenever I'm a passenger. But it's on the side of the road. I think it's Jessica's Psychic. I've probably driven past it 600 times, and I have never seen a vehicle parked outside of it. But the open sign is always on. From like 7 a.m. until like 4:30 in the morning. You can go and be psyched. Which is a special experience. I
Has anyone? Have you ever been to a psychic? Do you
We have
consult
a
psychics?
funny. It's funny you should ask because we had a celebration over the weekend. We celebrated by going to the Renaissance Festival. And Sam and I are both old hands at Renfest, but it was Will's first time. But we ended up going to a tarot reader and having all of our cards read. And that was a unique experience.
Oh,
And
yes, it was.
both Sam and Will had like glowing readings. And then I think I was the most afraid. I've never wanted to get it done for fear that I would learn something I did not want to know.
Oh.
And that's exactly what happened.
What? Would you share the? Would you share the?
What did you
What did
get?
you
Actually,
learn?
you know what? I'm being a little bit dramatic. It wasn't as doom and gloom. I was thinking like, day, month, second, this is how you die kind of thing. But it was basically just like they were like, "Oh, riches are coming your way. You're done growing, so
Yeah.
don't worry about
You
that."
have no more
anymore."
lessons.
For
to
Sam.
learn.
Yeah, you're morally astute.
Wilfredo!
Hello.
Coming to the soundstage.
I got my first
We are.
and only tarot reading.
Yes.
Hello there.
That's the card she pulled. I'm like, oh,
sitting on
I'm
your-
out. I'm done.
Number one, death.
Thanks.
Big
Thanks
grim.
very
First
much.
of all,
had
He
a
goes,
funny-
it's not as bad as
thought
it
you were doing
sounds. I
some
was
sort
like,
of Ovid
never
card
mind.
thing.
I had a funny moment too where all my cards were so grim, and then at the
thought it
end
was
she
an
was like,
avant-garde
"These are like your
experiment.
most important cards," and she pulls one. She goes, "The warrior," and I was like, "Oh, the warrior. That's
must be
great.
good,
It must be
right?
good." And she said, "Oh no, honey, the worrier." Not the warrior. The worrier.
I think it's the same thing.
very scared.
That's right.
Anxiety to the rescue.
It's a tough cross to bear, being the worrier.
you are
Someone's
the
got to do
warrior?
it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What's? Let's do. Sometimes we do a little therapy here. Can you give us a little dive into what worries you? What are you worried about?
Unlicensed
Answering
therapy.
that question worries me.
Answering that question worries you?
I said answering that question worries me.
Well, yeah. Well, I think we can all share a worry that we
Yeah.
have.
I'll go last.
Oh, okay. Well, who wants to start?
I worry
Wilfredo, would
about
you like to start? What
bugs.
do you worry about?
So let's see. I worry about the next big hurdle. I'm like one major car accident or medical bill away from ruin, as most people. But I guess in general, like I would like things to be cool. I would like everyone to be cool. I'd like like logos to prevail over pathos and all that. So yeah, like I just pray for level-headed leadership and populace.
Wow.
Next, hot potato.
About that.
Yeah, I know, right? That's why I worry so.
Yeah, on the right side of the refrigerator, there's a switch. Cricket that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We were talking about the fan. We were trying to figure out how to turn the
Oh,
fan
there we
on.
go.
It's working.
Don, it is our biggest
Biggest
fan.
fans.
Don, what do you worry about, buddy?
I worry about reincarnation.
What? You don't want to be reincarnated?
I don't
do
want
you?
to be reincarnated.
I know you worry about
I
that.
just
You've
want
said
to go
it
out
before.
and, I want to be in the soil, out, whatever.
You're over
Scatter
it.
in the- yeah.
You've seen it all.
I want to go.
Yeah, I don't need another one.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
It's like a 50-50
Sucks.
though.
I mean, who wants to be around again?
Aren't you curious?
Again?
Like what it'll be the next time around?
No.
Yeah.
No curiosity. No curiosity.
How about yourself? Worry? Do you have a worry?
Oh, I have. Yeah, there are plenty. Most pressingly, I think, is diarrhea.
Oh,
It's always.
bad.
it is the number
Yeah.
one killer in worldwide, I believe.
Cha cha cha.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I just.
It's a
I,
constant
I
specter.
hope you work it
Yeah.
all out.
And then the ancient
I
world.
think
as
about it a
well.
lot. Yeah. No, I've been struck with a bout before many a gig, before many a shift. It plagues my life a little bit, and it's kind of always sitting in the back of my mind. Will it strike, or will it leave me be for the time being?
If you can you stop and sort of take care of it for 10 minutes, or is it no, you must push on?
It depends on the time. I am very lucky to work in a place where people step in to help me out. I have IBS. This is a chronic issue. But we got people to watch the posts. The biggest thing is I think it is partially stress induced. So I never feel tangibly nervous before a show because my bowels are handling that for me. So usually it's just about 4 minutes before the set, I'm like, oh, this feels urgent. And usually I can push through usually. We had a show in Philly though where I was
out for a little while.
Yeah, I was in the bathroom for both of the openers, and I had my ear up against the door because I was like, please, I would like to listen to these bands we're with. They're very cool. We selected
Now,
them to play with.
To turn, not that every moment has to be turned into something to be learned, but in the spirit of making some lemonade out of lemons.
Mm-hmm.
What is something like venues could do to be more friendly towards people who have IBS? Because that seems like something that people deal with. I have friends who have IBS.
They can't really, can they? Or
They can
what
have
could a venue
working
do?
locks on their bathroom doors.
Locks on the bathroom
Working
doors.
locks.
At work.
That's a huge one.
At work.
Yeah.
Get behind that
Solo
one.
bathroom too. at
Yes.
least, because I think it's not just the experience, the corporeal experience of the diarrhea, but it is the shame of having
Yes.
the diarrhea in a
One's in a
public
stall
place.
next
Yeah.
to you.
or as you're walking out.
It'll turn off your oxygen.
Yeah. I also,
You know, what they need is what they have in Japan.
Has it?
Have you
Yes.
ever used a bathroom in Japan? They
I have.
really
not, but
beautiful furnishings. You can put on white noise. You can put on music. There's a dryer. There's soap. It's
Even in public toilets, like I was in Narita,
We have the
and
sound
they
machine.
have little buttons
Oh,
you can
sorry.
push.
I don't have my reader.
It's
a bidet.
We're just
I
gonna
guess
toilet
whatever
bidet
sound
flush.
goes on.
you know, and perfume, and
Yeah.
yeah, they have it down.
I wish they also had floor length doors. I think my biggest fear sitting in a public restroom is that I will be identified by my shoes. But I take a stance now where my feet go up on the toilet because I, number one, live in fear of being identified
Yeah.
after what I produce. And two, it helps move things along. Sometimes I just need to be the closest I can to a fetal position.
Locks on the doors and
Well,
some of the squatty
actually,
potty.
you
Yeah,
might,
that's
You say like a squatty
Step
potty.
you might
Long
like
doors
Japan.
look at you being
They got the
educated.
open
Trying to help here.
top.
Yeah, exactly.
The public toilets in Japan, there's always a couple of squat ones.
And three cheers for a bidet. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh,
Game changer.
Bidet's
No.
not for me, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Oh, once you've
No.
tried it, have you tried it?
No, I don't. I know.
We've established that.
This is
Wonderful.
I like we're getting into this real quick.
I know.
We're getting to know each
I
other.
like them more.
Yeah, I think it's a sensory pleasure for men.
Well, it's also cleansing.
There's more to stop the jet of water, also.
Yeah, there's a barrier there. I feel like if the few experiences I've had with bidets, it shoots farther than I anticipate that it's going to.
Oh, we're talking about location of the water.
Yes.
Yeah,
See,
yeah, right.
I think
That's
it
a
needs-
problem.
I think there needs to be a tutorial because I just
Yeah.
spent a week in Dakar, and every toilet you go to has a bidet. And I have, after 2 times of just getting water everywhere, that's it. I'm done. Someone's got to teach me.
Wait, can we pause for a minute? Wilfredo,
Yeah.
could you verbally describe the motion that Kat made when she said the water goes everywhere?
There's,
The-
there's
yeah,
hardly
pulling
any
more, yeah.
pressure in the shower, but in that bidet, it's like a fire hose. I'm like,
So yeah, arms
Don't get up.
outstretched,
I
fingers
don't want
splayed.
that. I don't want that in
It
there.
seems like a lot of pressure to have in a
it does.
delicate area.
It
Yeah.
does.
There could, you could get. I had one time I had one of my clients' dogs. They washed it with water and ended up hurting its bowels.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you have to I would imagine as a person you have to be careful with that as well.
No, I'd
a
like to
fragile
chime in.
dog.
I will not drink out of a water fountain, because even though I won't put my mouth over it, the whatever germs are there is carried by the
Yeah.
water. So the bidet is nice if it's yours and that's the only one you're using, but really it's kind of like there's this loophole or poop hole
Yes.
where you're sharing a lot more.
That's the thing. The public toilets with bidets, there's water everywhere before you even walk in.
Yeah, I
So
believe that.
think about splashback. It's like if the water jet is coming at
I
you,
know.
it's hitting your anatomy.
I think
It's then coming back maybe onto the jet
Right.
to then
It's
be
splash-
recirculated
yeah.
onto
And then
the
you're
user.
sharing. Yeah.
Good
I
point.
I don't feel a need for a bidet because I also feel really confident in my wiping ability. It's never felt necessary
Nice,
to me. Like
nice.
I just maybe
welcome
it's a
to how do you
personal
feel
thing.
about your wiping with Don and Alex?
If I can just
I've just never
Please,
needed
Tessa, do.
backup.
Please,
if I can
I feel like I've got
if
it
I can just summarize so we can move on from this topic because I'm feeling a little uncomfortable.
One more thing. I think I heard a theory as to why the bidet is so popular is some countries the plumbing isn't set up for actual toilet paper. So,
Okay.
but still.
So it's an infrastructure
So you
situation.
use a bidet without
that's
toilet
what I heard.
paper?
Oh, that's a
Then
tough
you're
one.
just walking around all side.
Yeah, I had to plenty.
I don't believe in the
That's
bidet
no way
that
to be.
much.
I would
think if
allow,
you're a bidet,
we
you
will
have
allow someone to have the last word on bathroom and bidets and as they apply. Who would like the last word?
I'll lean into the elders here, uncredited lyrics, but running down the gutter with a piece of bread and butter, diarrhea. Diarrhea, cha-cha-cha.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, please,
Diarrhea.
everyone would in any order,
butter,
starting with Tessa. Would you introduce yourself, and then we will work our way down.
After that conversation?
Well, we'll move that conversation to the end.
Well, I was going to say, for a summary of the worries that everybody has, sounds like
Totally
some of
forgot
them.
about that's how we got on.
I was trying to get us circling back. So there's the physical worry, physical ailments, and then we have the mental and emotional. So when you're not right physically, it's going to affect you mentally and emotionally too. And thank you for sharing. Yeah, places do need to be more accessible. I'm constantly thinking about that because whether it's myself or other people that have limitations, you see a lot of these places aren't equipped and could do better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Right.
a huge issue, especially in cities. Like, I mean, venues are certainly not the only place guilty of it, but I think,
Venues are dirty too.
yeah, venues are dirty. They're kind of cesspools for bacteria. I mean, you get people in there excited and sweaty and spitty, and that happens. But also, like, when you're in a city, I know that personally for myself, like, I have had trouble navigating some of the stairwells and things for load-in, and I'm like an able-bodied person. I can't imagine being somebody with like a physical limitation and having to make those treks and do those things. I mean, it puts a whole extra stress layer on something that's already stressful, like putting yourself out there to perform or to go out and socialize and be a part of like a big show. You know, being able to get there is important.
Yeah, you're right. I just did a load-in recently. I had shoes with pretty good grip on them. They were boots, and I had to walk like slowly because there was water on the floor everywhere, and I would have slid. And then you're carrying like super heavy equipment in this tiny little hallway up is like winding staircases.
Right.
Yeah.
Try it with flip-flops.
Yeah, Don, no. I was sliding with grip boots.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's the age-old tale of the 810 base cab down the venue basement stairs or whatever.
Yeah.
No
You
more
just
show.
lay it down and let gravity do the work.
Yeah, exactly. Just send her on down.
That doesn't work on the way up.
Good luck, everybody down there.
Well, I know I think I've said this before, but there was one band that came in at the old location, and they were struggling. 3 guys were struggling with their A10 bass cab, and you know they're difficult, very difficult.
Absolutely.
And I said to them, well, "Wait a minute, it's supposed to have wheels in the back." They said, "We took them off because they made noise."
Oh, not great.
Great
Not
technology.
great.
Sacrifices we make for tone.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. Oh.
To piggyback on that, I still have this 1x12 Eden cab. It's like scientifically like sized and designed really well. But one thing I guess in QA they missed is that it has 2 speaker output jacks, 1/4-inch holes to plug in speaker cables. And when they're both free, one of them, or if I only use one plug, the other one creates a whistle with certain notes. And yeah, and so I plugged it with silicone, just like filled it in. 'Cause, yeah,
I think you
fixed
should
the problem.
keep the whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of cool.
Mic that up, right?
Yeah.
Like that, put a contact mic on there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Adds character.
Okay, we were introducing ourselves.
There's no rush. Why? I mean, we've gotten to know each other so well so far.
These conversations of like the essence
Kat,
of
why don't you tell us
StageCraft.
what do you worry about?
Wait a minute. Talking about, stage issues and issues of what you deal with when you're performing, and then talking about toilet issues.
It comes up more on the show than we would
I don't
like.
think there's a StageCraft
Yeah.
show I've heard that doesn't at least touch on some kind of toilet humor.
It normally gets edited out, though. I almost always
Oh.
take it out.
Everybody
Sorry, you
poops.
got a big job to do.
Worry. What is your worry? Tell us. What are you
What
worried?
is my,
What is your worry?
I worry I might have malaria.
I think we're all worried about that now.
I just came back from Africa.
yeah, visiting Africa.
I missed a couple of pills on my anti-malarial pills, so we'll find out in about 25 days.
Yeah.
You're looking good to me. I'm not worried about you.
No, it's too early to tell. It's too early to tell.
This one's up in the air.
Let's make this next showcase a good one because it might be my last.
Wow, this is some heavy shit. All right, please,
So to speak.
can you introduce yourself, the band, and what you do in the band, and your worry?
And my worry? Great. My name is Emily Yaremchuk. I'm in Massie. The 3 of us are Massie, the band. And I sing and play guitar in Massie. And my worry, there are so many, but actually just kind of going off of what Kat was just saying, I worry a lot about illness in general. I guess I am a bit of a hypochondriac. And I would say malaria, legionnaires, lots of bacteria-borne illnesses. And I think I Google which side is your spleen on, like every 3 weeks or so.
Which side is it on?
That's a good question. I think it's to the right, actually.
This is
See,
You should
'cause
Google it.
because you get a lot of gas pain on your left that would make you feel like something's happening to my spleen.
Okay.
And then, or maybe is it the appendix?
The appendix is on the right. I think.
They're both
Appendix I'm
culprits.
thinking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. I'm very fearful of my appendix exploding because it makes you throw up sometimes,
Yeah.
and that is my worst fear.
Throwing up?
Yes.
Yeah, poisons
Oh,
too.
yeah. How did I
And
miss that
exactly.
one?
Yeah, Sam and I share an acute vomit phobia.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
It is.
Brutal.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my worry. That's a constant worry.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Will Salzmann, and I play bass in Massie. I was sitting here very worried that I would not be able to come up with a worry of mine
'cause you're
on
so
the
chill.
spot. Yeah, I'm so fucking
good.
chill,
Oh.
dude.
the
No,
backbone
I
of the
worry
band.
about so many.
Well, pass that
things.
joint.
Yeah. Oh God, no! Please, no.
He worries about smoking weed.
I worry about accidentally inhaling a cloud of weed and having a panic attack.
But your IBS symptoms are gone.
Yes, exactly. No, I worry. What do I worry about? I worry in the context of StageCraft, I suppose. I worry about my tone not being good.
Oh, yeah,
Often.
of course, yeah.
You should worry about unplugging your
Unplugging
bass.
yourself. Yeah.
Well, there's that too. There's many technical issues that come up, but I worry about my tone.
Well, you know,
Did you say tone?
that's quite valid, Will. It's because every room you play in, your cabinet, especially your speaker cabinet, but it's connected to your amplifier. Everyone, if you're a bass player, a guitar player, you have certain settings that you like. But the room dictates how it'll sound.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't have an amp for the longest time. I was using Emily's old little practice amp, and I just bought like a Fender Rumble 100, and it's pretty cool. But I still worry about my tone.
The amp was worrisome as well.
Yeah, well,
when
I
I first got it.
when I was first like playing it, it like smelled like it was like burning, like it was about to catch on fire.
Yeah, it's
I was
pyrotechnics.
Yeah, I was driving it pretty hard. I had like a big muff and like a little Fender drive pedal and an octave pedal. So like I don't know if that had something to do with it, but it's like fine now most of the time. It only like sometimes smells like it's gonna catch on fire now. So I think that's a win. I think
No,
that's
yeah,
a win.
it's huge.
Yeah.
Helpful.
It's a good T-shirt. Sometimes gonna catch on fire.
It's in
Like,
production.
I'm iffy on catching fire. Like I can sometimes, but not other times. So let me ask you. Everyone shared their worry. Is there an attraction of performance? Does that ever help you escape from, the realities that we face? Whether it be, exterior or interior, to parse phrase.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that you can worry about when you're performing is like performing, unless something really bad is going on. I guess that could like bog you down. But like,
But is that part of the reason that you like doing it, or is that not?
I mean, I think, no, I still find myself worrying on stage. I very much want people to be having as good of a time as we are, and I think that I have to get to a place where I have, like, I've made eye contact with a bunch of people and see that they're also into it, and then I can let loose a little bit. But those first couple of songs can be kind of treacherous. Like, I get up there and I'm like, please be willing to have fun with us.
Yeah, the
Like,
feedback is important.
Yeah, I definitely I don't want to be like the energy kind of thing, but like the energy is huge, and like I think that I often don't let myself go until I know that everyone's kind of on the same page and like we're all having a good time together. I want to like vibe check the room before I really lean into it.
So it sounds like you feed off the audience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all try to push through, of course, even when we have like a nematode audience, as we called it at one point.
Yeah, like in Sponge. Well,
Yeah, there's a group of fish in SpongeBob called the nematodes, and they don't move much.
they just look at you.
Yeah, they just look.
And stand close together.
So that's our term of
Look at
endearment.
you.
It's huge. Yeah.
You're not invisible.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely try to push through, but it's very helpful to have an audience that's like engaged and like having fun, because then I can be like, oh, okay, like we're doing something right. I can.
Do you
Yeah.
think, because it sounds like you're saying that sometimes it's hard for you to be vulnerable, like to show that you're having a good time unless you know someone else is having a good time?
I think in the context of music, yes, which is really funny because that's kind of opposite to how I am as a person. I'm very much an open book. Like, I mean, I would tell you guys everything about my life right now if you asked.
You pretty much have, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I started with the bathroom, so. But yeah, for some reason with the music, I mean, I think it's because I know that, you know, my dear bandmates Emily and Will are also at stake. I want to keep it tight. I don't want to like let loose too early and let things fall apart, especially as the drummer. I'm like, I really want to make sure that I'm like focused and.
Well, let me ask you that though. What's the danger? It's like a therapy session again. What's the danger of letting loose too early? Like if you come out, and I'm not trying to say that it's the way to do it, but if you come out and you're the first one to be like, yo, we're going to have a fucking good time tonight, right?
Yeah.
What's the danger of being the one who kind of puts it out there?
I mean, I will say, I tried to have my body language and like my exterior present that. It's just usually the piece in my brain is missing until I know that everything's going well. Like I will put on the front of like, this is the best night of my life. And it very well could be. And I believe that every time I walk on stage. I'm like, things could go so well. And I could be having so much fun. I just have to fake it till I make it a little bit. Like let the nerves kind of sweat off, you know, and kind of gauge the room, figure out where we're at, and then go from there. And usually by song 2, I'm like, can take my deep breath and be like, okay, yeah, now we're in it, and like I'm having a great time. But you know, it takes a little while for the nerves to wear off.
What do you rely? Sorry,
No, please go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you all rely on for each other on stage? Because I'm hearing that you have a good connection and engagement on the stage. I'm just like curious during your shows, what are you doing or feeding off of?
Energy for sure.
Yeah.
I think sometimes if one of us is lagging, not that that always happens, but sometimes one of us, you'll have a particularly depressing moment, you know, you just do something really wrong.
Everything goes wrong.
And then you just have to make eye contact with someone else and they're just like, you know, just get over it and you keep going.
Yeah. There's that little bit of reassurance that like the floor isn't collapsing from underneath us when a wrong note gets hit or a flub happens.
Oh God. I mean, wrong notes get hit all the time.
Yeah. I mean, you have to persist. Nonetheless, we
Nevertheless, we persist.
Yeah, nevertheless. And I think like, you know, we're a very tight-knit group. We spend nearly every day together. We like have played a lot of shows together over our small run as a band. And, you know, I think our biggest thing is we kind of look at each other to laugh things off. Like, I think we all hold ourselves to a pretty high standard and want to perform the best we can. And like, I don't think any of us necessarily hold ourselves or each other to that same standard. Like, nobody's mad at each other when somebody else messes up. Yeah. So like, I think when that moment happens where like a flub goes down or something doesn't happen exactly right, we look at each other and like you get that smile or like that wink from a band member that's like, oh, everything's okay. And it makes it way easier to move on. Because I've played with people before that you get the stank eye from when a flub goes down, when something disastrous happens. And that's just not the dynamic we have. It's like, it's just always reassuring each other and trying to just move to the next and have a little joke about it.
I'll bet that comes across in your performances. I think people can just see.
Yeah.
There's that. Yeah. And people will feed off of that and they'll connect with that.
That's the hope.
We played a show at Howard Theater not too long ago. And we had this comment that I had to kind of sit with for a little while and figure out whether it was a compliment or a diss. But I've decided to take it as a compliment, where a teenage girl came up and she was like, that was like the coolest show ever. It felt like I was in rehearsal with you guys. And like, I was like, okay, I don't know if that's exactly what we were going for, but like, thank you so much. Glad you liked it.
Let's pick that apart. What do you think that means?
We do a lot of very personalized banter. I think on stage we less talk to the crowd and more talk to each other. And like, we do a lot of checking in before songs. We do a lot of like, you ready? Are we good? We're going to start it. I'm starting this one, right? And like, it's all very casual. And like, we don't do any planned banter. Like, we don't have points we hit on. We just kind of go.
I think I was going to say, I think people can sense how comfortable we are with one another too. And kind of like you said, Kat, the way that we are interacting and supportive of one another. But yeah, I think you can tell if like it doesn't have to be music. You can enter any situation. Like right now, I can tell how comfortable you guys all are with one another.
Oh my God, you have no idea how much we hate each other.
Yeah, no.
This is
tensions are actually very high.
these 90 minutes
Bubbling,
of bullshit every week.
We don't even pretend anymore.
Yeah, I totally agree. A good rapport it translates, and people.
It does.
Want
It puts
to
you at
see
ease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I totally, to add to that, because I agree with you, it does put people at ease, but it also it draws people in.
Yeah.
Because they want to see it, and they want to be
part
in
of
it.
it.
They want to come to your practice. I used to give people shit, and I still believe it. That like when people would say shit like, "Oh, this is what I'd be doing anyways if you weren't here," and you're like, "Well, what the fuck am I here for then? You know, if you're going to be doing it anyways." You got to give me something a little extra, but what you talked about is like it doesn't matter what I think. If you have people coming up to you afterwards and say like, "Yo, that was a moment," that's like the perfect compliment, right? It doesn't matter if they liked or didn't like it. It's the fact that they took that moment out to make that connection with you.
Yeah,
That's what I was going to say. That compliment is huge, because that's what people come for. They come for real, even if it's just your banter, even if it sounds like a rehearsal. That's, I mean, as a fan, as a patron of the arts, that's what I come for. And
my only feedback
awesome.
is next time when someone says that, go, okay, give me $10. That's extra. That wasn't part of the show.
rehearsal feel is
mean,
extra.
When you look at all of the shows that are popular now, I don't know if you have any like trash TV that you love. I love all of those reality shows. People want to be invited into people's like real personal lives. And I think when you're on stage and you're kind of bearing that, and the three of you are just being who you are, people get to observe that. That's part of the performance. And it does give like that personal aspect about you. And it makes it relatable. Like they want to be invited in on everything that it's like to be a musician performing in front of them, because they're not doing that. You are.
I think that's such a good point, and that you have to acknowledge, and this is something that I fought for a long time, and again, I haven't been performing that long, but I fought the idea that what we were doing was like, at least in part, like spectacle and performance. And I was like, no, like you just go out and you play the music, and that is what it is. But no, there is this other element, you're right, of like people want that communion or that involvement, and I think that allowing that to like consciously kind of like allowing that to happen and be like, no, it's okay. Even if I do mess up, because again, I think the thing about live music these days too is that obviously there are incredible musicians out there who perform live and can sound perfect every single time, but just like the way that we record music now, everything is so polished and smoothed over and perfect that there is like, it does feel like there's real risk, especially with like everyone having a phone in their pockets. Like you could make one mistake and somebody takes a video of it, and that's the thing that you become known for, famous for.
Next thing you know, you're a meme.
Exactly. So
But
it's
is
like,
that bad?
but well, it could be positive, but just maybe not in the way you want it to be. But I think it's like giving yourself over to the idea that it is spectacle a little bit. It is okay for people to be watching you. Like,
Well, again, like if I do become a meme, give me $10, you know,
Yeah.
for every time you see it. To take it to the friendship thing a little bit more. So whether like a spectacle is a strong word, but I get that word and I agree with it. I love that word. But even when you talk to your friends, when you're in a comfortable situation, you know, and of course alcohol can help or drugs in general. But like when you're by yourself with your friend, that makes no sense. When you're alone with your friend or friends and you're able to talk in an animated fashion about the things that you're excited about and pantomime and describe the situation exactly as it was. You don't do that with everybody.
Right.
You only do that with your close friends. And so even playing music, you're going to play that differently in front of your friends or the people that you've come to know than you do, than the people you don't know. Well, I don't imagine that super famous people necessarily fill the stadium with all their friends, but I know that front couple of rows is oftentimes filled with people they know in the city because they want to play for their friends, right? I mean, I assume so. I don't know, Don. I've never played in front of thousands of people.
I don't want to ever.
yeah,
I never want to play for my friends.
that's
Why?
It's
Will,
The stakes are so much higher.
Well, that's the thing. Some of the shows that have been like the hardest for me to kind of get through have been the ones where I'm like, oh, I know like a lot of the audience is like people that I know.
This is therapy, though. You got to tell us why. Why is it?
I'm a lot more afraid of fucking up because like they know me. I interact
the radio.
with them on like I interact with them on a regular basis. Like I value their opinion, and maybe this is wrong, but like I do value the opinion of like someone who I'm close with much more than like someone who I'm just meeting, like just came to a show, you know, so if they say something to me like, oh, like that show was good, or like, oh, that was like a rough one, like it's gonna hit a lot harder than like, I don't know, some random person.
So
Especially because you know your friends will have the burden of pretending.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can tell when they're
They
fucking
will.
lying.
Exactly. And like we've only one time we had someone come up to us and be like afterwards be like, you guys sounded bad. And no, it was fine. It was we did.
Yeah.
that's great. That's good advice or good feedback.
That's good. Should be real.
Yeah.
Well, the worst thing I've heard is when they say to you, "Did you mean to do that?"
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So Will, are you promoting shows then? Because like as a band gets off the ground, you know, you got to invite friends. Are you the guy in the band that is not promoting the band?
Will, is Will even your real name?
I don't even know who I am anymore.
I have to agree with Will completely. I feel much more comfortable playing in front of strangers. I'll give you one example. I played for somebody that I knew before. They came up to me after I sang. I was singing at a funeral. It was a cappella, so there was no one else to blame other than me.
Have mercy.
And the person came up to me and said, "That song sucked."
Oh my god!
Who said that?
I kid
This
you
is a
not.
funeral.
Was it like an adult person?
And
You
this,
just looked at Deb. Was it
this
Deb?
proves, Will,
Yeah.
does this not prove our point? It is so much easier to play for strangers. There's no
Right.
pressure.
Well, there's no like preconceived notion of like,
Yes.
oh, I know you. I like.
I don't know, man. I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad, but I have to be honest. Like, if you feel less pressure to perform well because you don't know people, I think you might be fucking up.
No, it's not. I think
It's a phenomenon.
I'm gonna butt in here for a
don't
second
know,
and say
man.
You are a
Let me-
special breed, Alex.
Let me explain myself. It's not that I don't feel pressure to perform well. It's that I feel I'm less anxious about like, oh, like fucking Bob is gonna have some shit to say about that.
I'm not saying it's either situation that's fucked up. I'm saying if you feel more pressure because you're with your friends, that might be a
Once they
little
get
fucked
going.
up. And the second is if you feel less pressure because you don't know the people, I think that might be a little fucked up. I think that's supposed to be switched or it's supposed to be even. Because
I think-
the truth is you don't really like. I know the judgment that you're talking about. Like I hate. Like singing in front of people who are harsh critics sucks, especially when you know they're gonna be like, sounded great. And you're like, I know you didn't think that sounded great. Like, I know that's
Yeah.
a burden and it sucks, but you literally don't know when anyone's lying ever to you, ever. And
Just say thanks, Mom, and move on. You know.
yeah.
now
I
we're
mean,
getting into my therapy
I think
session.
for me,
I can't
it's-
talk.
yeah, I think you're the one that needs therapy. You're telling
Oh, well, that's obvious. That's an obvious.
everybody else.
I'm not telling anyone to do anything
Well, we
wrong.
don't
I'm
need
not telling
therapy.
anything.
No, we're totally fine. Totally good. I didn't go to therapy yesterday. It's fine. It's good.
I think that's why we're here right now.
Oh, that was a joke. Got it.
That must be kind of weird. You know, if you have friends come to the show and friends know you in different contexts
Yes.
and they connect with you with different parts of your personality, and then they're all in the same place. I'm
Yeah.
I agree with this. I agree with this. But here's what-
Uh-oh.
I want to bring in a quote from Don that
Which
helped me.
persona am I
That
supposed
helped
to
me
use?
with.
What?
The
I've
other
had
day,
quotable
I said to
quotes.
Don, I said to Don, I think I have this problem. I feel more like myself when I'm on the radio than when I'm not on the radio. I said, what about you? How do you feel? And he says, I always feel like myself. And,
nice.
and so I hear you, Kat, and I know we all have to at sometimes compartmentalize who we are in some ways, but it is a very difficult way to manage your life. I'm saying that from experience.
Yeah, it is.
It is a really hard way, and the faster you can melt down barriers that prevent you from giving your full whatever, man, that is like, I know that's where we're all trying to get, but like that's where we're trying to get.
Yeah.
I don't see it as, it's not a burden. It's just some people, like, you know, I may hold back on the cussing with some people because it's not their thing, but
Right.
we're still connecting
Is
on
it your
something
thing?
genuine.
Is cussing your thing?
Very much so.
Then why do you want to not be yourself around other people?
I can be myself and still exercise
It's not
restraint.
Society
integral to
re-
who you are.
I think. Well, I also think that there's.
But I'm a lot of different things. I can have a great conversation about
multifaceted.
classical music, and I have
Yeah.
no reason to cuss. And
Well, it sounds like part of Kat's personality is to show appropriate restraint, given the situation.
Not really restraints. There's some conversations are
Well, you
just
did
not.
say restraint. That was the word.
Or like
Sometimes.
work friends and casual friends are totally different too.
Yeah.
We all adapt ourselves too. Why do we wear clothes around other
People just talk work
It's-
about.
Yeah.
You have no idea. I've been waiting for us to have this moment. Yes. Why are we wearing clothes right
Oh
now?
no.
All right.
I think we've just
I kind of like these odds.
Unleashed.
Yeah.
Like, why do we sit a
I
circle
knew there was
facing
an
each other?
agenda.
Everybody take it
No, I
off.
totally, of course, situational.
Now we talk about
there are-
sartorial matters.
Yeah,
agree. You're
no,
right.
exactly. It was like, society requires, in order to, be in a society with other people and like have communion with other people, we agree to certain norms and sets of rules so that we can tolerate one another.
Absolutely.
And so it is essential that you compartmentalize. If you don't compartmentalize who you are, then you're seen as crazy. Because you have to. If you cannot read social cues enough to compartmentalize certain parts of your personality depending on whatever situation you find yourself in. And so I think that is what's difficult about performing in front of people you know. And I thought there was something very interesting that you said, Alex, which is that I was alone with my friends. We perform constantly. You perform who you are at work, just like you perform who you are as a son to your parents. Just like you perform who you are as a partner to your partner. And it's difficult to give up all of those different compartments and then perform as something that maybe, I hate to use this word too, but like transcends all of those things, right? And it's funny because you think about famous people always talking about, or performers like, it's my family who keep me grounded and da-da-da, but what sometimes you need to not be grounded by all of those other roles that you play so that you can play the spectacle.
Yeah, loose, free.
yeah.
No, I think you hit it on the head when, you said that it was, oh God, it just left my mind, but you're connecting with people about certain things. You're reading the room.
Yeah.
Basically, you're adapting to whatever, and I don't think that's false or difficult at all. Like I have my best friend, when we get together, we act like 12-year-olds, like Beavis and Butthead,
Yeah.
But that's just part of my personality. And other people, I just talk about politics, which is also a really great part of my personality.
Yeah. Well, they're all different aspects that,
Yeah.
they at times they live separately, at times they come together in some sort of weird conglomeration of, who you are. For me, I think the anxiety of performing live doesn't necessarily extend from like having to put on a persona or not wanting certain people to see certain things of me. I think I go in with the same mission every time. I think the anxiety comes from the idea of people I love having to perform niceties for me in like the aftermath of a wrecked performance, because it happens to all of us. You go in, you rehearse 19 times, you like practice to a metronome, you do things, and then something happens and you don't play your best. And like, out of regard for my friends, I want them to be able to be honest with me, but then I'm like,
Don't patronize, don't be polite.
Because it's
certainly,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're on a stage. of
Without a
course.
doubt.
Correct.
My ego is very
Except at a
fragile.
funeral, you should be real.
But I think if you're talking about, if we're using words like transcend, if we're using words like perform, so now we're mixing up real life and stage life. And that is, now we're getting into something special, I think, right?
It's exhibitionism, right? Like mild.
Well, in real life, it's called exhibitionism, and on a stage, it's called a performance, right? I think those are the two different things. But I think what I want to hinge on a little bit is this idea that what we're talking about, though, is making mistakes. And I understand being fearful of making mistakes, but do you think that it's somewhat complicated to worry about the pressure that your friends feel in having to be less than honest with you about your performance because of a mistake you might make? Like, that seems a little nuanced and complicated when you could, and I'm not saying we have to because we're all trying to get there, we could just not worry about the mistake and let the friend figure it out for themselves, because there's a little bit of growth for anyone who needs to figure out how to be honest or polite. Like the words we used are, did you mean to do that? My favorite go-to phrase was when someone says, what did you think? I go, how did you like it? Or did you have fun? And
Deflect.
yeah, you got to deflect. But I'm not
deflect.
saying those are solutions, but do you see like sweating making mistakes because of the pressure that might put on someone to have to lie to you? That seems complicated to me.
Oh, it certainly is. It's like, it's a really nuanced issue. And like, I think what it comes down to is like, I just want people to like what we're doing, and I always want to be at our full potential, and sometimes we're not. And when it's around strangers, I feel like sometimes it's easier to like shake off a bad night and be like, okay, like that was a fresh start. The next one's also going to be a fresh start. If they didn't like us, they don't have to come to another show, and like they can move on. And I think that when it's friends, they're sort of expected to like keep coming, keep showing up, and I don't want anybody on our crowd to be disappointed, but especially people that feel obligated to be there and support us because they are really good friends and they're really kind. I mean, some of these friends Will and I work at a venue in Virginia, and we've played at that venue. So not only do we play there often, but we also work with them every single day, and we make music with some of them. So it's like it's this multi-layered thing where it's like, oh, like, I don't want you to feel obligated to keep coming to a show you don't like. Therefore, I feel more pressured to put on a better show for you, and then I get more in my own head about it, if that makes any sense.
We got to journal about this. Yeah. Is what we got to do. Like, this is super nuanced. No, I do understand. I overthink things a lot. And the only way that I found to get past it is like exactly what you described, which is like, this is just what we're doing, and we're going to get through this, and I'm going to fake it till I make it, put some smile on, and then all of a sudden you don't realize where you are, and it's great.
But the worst case is like at the Galaxy when they had music there, you do a set, it's a bad set, things go wrong, and you take 3 steps and walk to your table with your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, you need a green room to diffuse it. Put some time apart.
One thing I will say though is, and I know there's a famous quote where I think it's like John Lennon or Paul or the Beatles are basically saying, I felt so bad for Elvis because he was alone versus playing in a band. Because I do feel like, again, going back to ego, when it's just you up there, it's so difficult, and especially if you're an overthinker, whereas afterwards, like every time we play a set, we'll be constantly communicating with one another during it, like verbally or not. But afterwards, we'll drive back to Virginia together and we just talk through everything that happened. And that's so affirming as well. It's like if I thought that something was bad, then I actually have 2 other people who can like confirm that
or deny.
Yeah, actually we like that was not great. We need to work on this, or actually that was better than you thought. And that there's just so much comfort in that too, and it's far less ego shattering usually.
I think it's funny to talk about this in this setting too, because typically this is the kind of thing that we only let each other see, like the anxieties that come around a bad show, or like the fear of like what our friends might think is something that stays in the band car. Like we no matter how bad a show is, we're not going out into the crowd being like, oh, I'm sorry, that was a really bad one, you should get out to another show. Woo! We just flubbed it.
Refund tickets.
Like, do you want your money back? I'll kiss you on the lips. I don't know, whatever you want from me. I'm so
money
sorry.
Back,
you
whoa. Give me that money.
No, but like,
sorry, they don't even know.
Yeah, realistically, it's like this is something that stays within the confines of our band, and like, we deal a lot with each other's insecurities so that the world doesn't have to, and we can
good way to put it.
Move on and
we shift gears for a second towards something a little more positive, because I love
diarrhea.
Diarrhea.
I love the discussion about the positive, that you kind of look at each other, give each other the wink, like, hey, everything's cool. Because being in a creative pursuit when you have someone who's giving you the eat shit look sucks, right?
Oh my God.
And when a performance
so
is up there, because you're already sweating, you're already scared, you're already anxiety, and then someone gives you the eat shit, okay, like, yeah, because that helps. Now,
Someone who's supposed to be on your side.
So now I'm definitely going to find it. How do you, in that structure, because I love that kind of creative structure, how do you motivate each other to push yourselves, to be the best self that you could be? Like, is it just by example? Is it through words? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, do you mean in the context of like on stage, or like just as a band in general?
Both. Either in practice, writing songs, or even just in life. Like however you interface with each other. How do you motivate each other? How do you push each other to be the best self?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really thought about it. It's not something that I'm really cognizant of doing. I just know that we all continue to grow as a band and individuals, so it has to be happening. Okay, go ahead.
I think about it on stage a lot because, like, I guess it's kind of like the leading by example thing. Like, when I'm on stage, I just try to go, not in a way that's, like, forced or, like, inauthentic, but, like, it's somewhere where I feel like I can really cut loose and, like, just kind of take all the walls down. So I just, like, go fucking crazy and, like, headbang and, like, smash my headstock on Sam's cymbals and, like...
We're on the radio.
Excuse me. But, yeah, no, I try to go... I try to give it as much as I can, and I'm trying to pull that out of Emily and Sam just by like going up, being like, hey, like getting in their faces, like whatever it is, like
People like to see that.
Yeah.
people do.
I
like
like
to,
to
I like to
see
do
that.
it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, for some context, Sam and I originally started playing together as a duo, and then Will joined us as our bassist. What, in
Just over a year ago.
Yeah, like
a little over a year.
yeah, just a little bit over a year ago. And so previously it had just been Sam and I feeding off each other. And we always had really good like musical chemistry, and that was awesome. But it is harder to like look back at your drummer sometimes to like, when you're, so for me, it's been awesome to have Will right there next to me, because Will is definitely a more energetic performer than I am, I'd say, in almost every category. So I would, to that exact point, feeling like Will's energy and seeing him, move around, it actually opened up the door for me to do that, because again, I was like, I'm not alone up here, standing here. At least Sam is sitting anymore.
There's only so much I can do.
Yeah, and so I would say, like, I definitely feed off of Sam and Will completely when we're on stage. Like, when I can steal a look at Sam's got, like, the best drum faces ever. So it always, makes me want to,
But you're tied to the microphone, too.
I am, and that's something I've thought about a lot, is that because I'm not a particularly technically driven guitarist, let's say, I feel like I sing for like 95 to like 97% of our songs. There's not a whole lot of instrumental, bits where I have time to walk away from the mic. So I spend most of the performance glued in one space, trying to communicate through silly little body rolls, and
Yeah, it's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be the nerd here and ask, what are you using for a guitar? What is it like?
I play a Fender Jaguar.
Awesome. Is it like one of the ones with like the original pickups, or are they bigger humbuckers, P90s?
I have humbuckers. Yeah, it's a Mexican Jag. I don't know.
Great.
What year
No,
it
that's
is.
handy.
I bought it at Guitar Center.
That's cool. Yeah.
I love it. It's the best.
Yeah, I know. And those humbucker editions are like the least noisy, so that's awesome, especially for rock. And drums, what are you using?
So I just got a pearl acrylic kit.
No way.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of a funny story. I've been playing drums since I was 7.
For context, how old are you then?
I'm 24.
May I ask? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm 24 now. My dad built the first kit that I ever really used. I had a Tamastar Classic that we ended up selling to my drum teacher, ironically.
Yeah, those are really good drums.
And I needed drums, so my dad got the shells and got the hardware and put it together. He wrapped it in a animal print fabric for me. It was fuzzy. It was very 11-year-old, very 12-year-old.
That sounds pretty dope now, though.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, Teen Mortgage.
Yeah, no,
has
it lives
a
on.
fuzzy drum
Sam did it first.
Oh my god.
Shots fired.
Oh,
Shots fired.
well, my dad did it first. But it's a really sentimental kit to me. So I have stopped. I've taken it out of rotation because
Retired it?
Yeah, I've retired the kit because I would be devastated if anything happened to it. But, due to being a person in the United States, I don't have money. So from like 15 until about 3 months ago, did not have a usable drum kit. And just like 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe a little bit more, we went to Atomic Music, and hidden under the dust in one of those shelves in the very back laid my sweet, sweet Pearl kit. I've been looking at them online on Reverb for like 2 years, just waiting to bite the bullet.
What color?
It's just clear.
Clear.
Yeah.
I picked up an acrylic kit from Atomic Music as well. Shout out to them, Lewis and all them.
Yeah.
I picked up the Tequila Sunrise, which is the red, orange, yellow,
yeah.
like the shot.
Yeah, that's a sexy looking kit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I
My
mean,
baby.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier. It was too good to be true. I took out every piece and looked for spider cracking and all of the general woes that an acrylic kit can have, and it was in prime condition.
By the way,
Put Christmas lights inside?
Oh, so that's the fun thing.
Yeah.
It already has lights set up in it.
Oh,
it's got
DMX.
Yeah, it's got strip lights with a DMX already.
What a
good
buy.
to go.
Yeah,
buy.
and it was only like $800. I was like, that's not going to break my bank in
All
a
day
really
long.
serious way. So yeah, that's mine now.
Will.
So I think I mentioned earlier, I just
You got
bought
an 810, right?
Yeah, dude, sure. No, I bought,
1216.
at that same Atomic trip, I bought just a little Fender Rumble 100.
Right.
And then I play a Jag bass in shell pink. It's like a Squire, you know.
It's mighty handsome. Yeah.
Yeah, I adore that thing. It's just the action is great. The neck is like super smooth.
And did they do away with those kill switches and the accidental, like bumping knobs?
Nope, not on mine.
your spine?
Mine is taped shut.
Yeah, cool. That's very punk too.
about
Put a
yours.
little duct tape on that.
No, mine.
yours has the-
It's just got volume and tone knob. That's
all you need.
it. Yeah,
It's on the the kill switch on the top.
Yeah.
Where, oh my
Get
god,
that.
one.
Yeah.
The first
totally.
gigs, like 2 or 3 gigs I played with that guitar, I shut myself off. Like, you think I would have learned after the first one?
Yeah.
But yeah, it took about 3 gigs of doing that for me to like silence it forever.
Hammer it.
I had a Jag bass with the switches on. It was like a made in Japan years back, and I just kept like cutting myself on that. Like I get into it and then just
Yep.
spurt. Yeah, it's
Tough one.
Some of those made in
Visual has
Japan ones are like just like made in Japan Fenders are like crazy good.
The Japanese Jags are like that's what I want to
totally.
own eventually.
Yeah. No, it's the one that got away, just like every other instrument I've sold. All right. Well, that's been the my nerd out. You guys can go ahead and throw
Yeah,
a pie
in case-
now.
In case anyone,
Interview's over.
in case anyone was wondering, we had wandered into the part of the show that we have called in the past Tech Talk with Will.
Tech Talk.
I like-
Will.
Right,
segment.
that's right.
We could keep going. We just bought pedals.
Yeah, that's
too.
your.
Yeah, that's true.
That's your
Will's
shtick.
got his pog.
Tell me about that. Okay, so well, first off, any nightmare scenarios where like patch cables die or power supply gets unplugged?
Oh, dude,
Absolutely.
Yeah?
we were
Lay it
playing
on
the
me.
show at Pie Shop with we were playing the show at Pie Shop, and it was like a very big deal for us at the time, and everything had to be like fucking perfect. And I can't remember. It was like in the middle. I think it was in the middle of a new song, like
Yeah.
one of our newer tunes.
It was.
And and I was like playing. And I was like, okay, everything's cool. And then like a second later, I was like, where is my fucking bass? Where is my bass? I can't hear it. And I like tried to mess with the patch cables, like whatever, blah 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 blah. Turns out that I had just like moved a little too far, and the actual like cable plugged into the amp, like into the input, had come
That's the
out.
call. You were mentioning that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Call back.
That was a tough
call
one.
back.
It was right
It
before.
happens to us all.
It was right before the chorus, and he just left Emily and I to.
Just hanging.
Yeah,
we were just a chorus. It's actually a breakdown where
Oh,
then there's
yep.
silence and then I scream.
Yeah.
So I was really gearing up for that, and also I heard him dissolve into the nothingness, and I was
The
like,
ether.
I'm
How long
fully
did it
leaving
take
you
to find
behind.
the
I think
solution.
Oh, it was
20
too long.
seconds,
It was
probably.
too long.
It was very long.
Which is
Yeah.
like a
Eternity
long
on
time.
stage. Yeah.
I think 20 might be a little generous. I'm rocking with about 35 here, where Emily and I were just hoping for the best.
And then he did it at the next gig too.
I
yeah,
did.
yeah. Repeat offender.
Dynamics.
Yeah, I suppose you could call it.
It's a bit
composition, yeah.
at this point. It's
Arrangement.
just
just
this
a
is
bit. It's just for fun.
this is part
I
of the
meant to do
spectacle.
it.
So that was one nightmare. I've had one. I have one particular pedal that the power supply jack is weird.
Yeah.
And I have it very carefully and particularly duct taped in place. strategically, and sometimes it'll get knocked loose or something will happen, and it's a fuzz pedal, and I go to like kick on the fuzz just expecting to like obliterate everyone in front of me, and then it just kills everything.
Wait, do you see this?
Watch out, guys.
Watch out, guys. So
That really specific squeal it makes too sometimes, where it's like green, and you're just like, what?
I would at least take a death squeal, but like at least it's
Most of the time, it just cuts
It's just
in like a really
That's only
harsh
happened a couple
way.
times, but
Yeah.
What kind of fuzz is that?
that is Twin Spires Red and Green Fuzz
Interesting.
by Earthquaker Devices.
nice.
Oh yeah.
That's like
Quaker.
one of the first. When I bought pedals, this is really embarrassing, and I am opening myself up to scorn. But I didn't really know what pedals I wanted. I knew I wanted a Holy Grail reverb pedal. I love Placebo. They're like one of my favorite bands, and I was just
Oh, yeah,
trying to
totally.
copy everything that Brian Molko did. So I knew I was getting that, but then I just went on YouTube and I just looked up how to get My Bloody Valentine guitar sound, and I saw a video that was like Twin Spires and a blues driver, Boss blues driver, and I bought those 2 pedals, and I've never looked back.
That was all you were gigging with for a good long while
Oh,
there.
it's so hard right before you said My Bloody Valentine. It was like you were trying to like, am I going to say this?
Am I gonna say it?
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
like,
My Chemical Romance. Oh no!
She had those two.
Sam just said Those are the only 2 pedals you use?
Not even a tuning pedal.
For guitars?
Oh no, I have expanded since. I now have a tuner. I didn't have a tuner for a long time, which was also a huge grievance.
Who needs that?
I fought that for a long time, but no, I have. So I'd say my bass tone, disgusting, is would say like
Front row.
Holy Grail with Blues Driver, and then I have Boss Chorus. I have the Twin Spires Fuzz, and then I really have only added one. And this is kind of another funny little like gear thing with me, is that I cannot stay away from products that are quote unquote made by or like in collaboration with Slash. The picks that I like to use
You got his wah pedal?
are the Slash Velvet Touch Tortex picks. I have sweaty hands and they're great. And then I bought his fuzz octave pedal. We went to Atomic and I tried like 65 pedals and I was like, please don't let it be the Slash pedal.
They made us
And it
take the
was
private
Slash
room.
pedal.
Yeah.
It was the best one. It was, yeah.
So I'd like to segue into recording because I heard that you might be having an upcoming release. I would love to hear about it. And also, Will, a little birdie told me, I'm Tessa, that Deb and I were going to school for audio technology right now at American, and we heard you may have gone there. Is that true?
That is not true.
I don't know how this rumor got started.
I did
Everyone
not-
thinks that.
I did not go to AU.
He is not college
rumor.
educated.
We have recorded there a few times.
Okay.
You look like one
Right.
of those folks.
You fit right in with them.
You came through, yeah.
Yeah, that
I could do it.
that's
yeah.
probably the case.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was
I
very
did not go
memorable.
to.
Yeah,
Or
he's got
have
the hair.
never gone to American.
Tell us about your upcoming recording and you know, like what your role was in that too.
Yeah, I mean, I played the bass. No,
I played bass.
It's really cool. We recorded at a place in DC called Ivacoda with Ben Green. I don't know if any of you guys know him. He's like a stellar engineer
And a gentleman, too.
and
Yeah, and
just
it's
like the
truly-
sweetest guy. I've been playing in bands since I was like 12 or 13 and have been recording with him since around maybe a little later than then, but like I've known him for a very, very long time. So I just have like a really great, not only like a working relationship with him, but just a relationship just as a friend, whatever,
Partner?
as a partner.
Partner.
Best back
Announcement.
rubs.
Hold on.
No, but it was really cool. He has a lot of really great gear and things that we got to mess around with to try to, you know, chase the perfect tone or like whatever. He also has a lot of great input just in terms of like little parts that maybe could be tweaked or like added.
Production.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's just as much
Yeah.
a producer as he is like your
It's inevitable
recording engineer.
when you're working on a project. You'll have like 2 cents to pitch in. Yeah.
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 That's great. And
He's
you
also-
trust them, you like them, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's also just very patient. I think like that was the biggest thing that stood out to me about Ben Green was this is our first time recording as a band. Like Emily and I's real first time in like an actual studio like recording a full length project. And yeah, he sat through every step of it with us. Like did not get frustrated when we couldn't verbalize exactly what we wanted. Some of the engineering lingo is kind of lost on me. I think I was, asking for a lot of things that just like were totally wrong. I would ask for reverb and then be like, wait, that is absolutely not what I meant at all. Can you compress it? So like things like that where like, most people might get frustrated by a lack of knowledge there, but he just sat with us and talked about what everything does and like what he thinks would be best and like listened to us when we were like, no, you're wrong, go back. He was a really, really, really understanding engineer and like really worked with us to make sure that it got where we wanted, not just where it would be easiest for him to take it, which was a really cool experience to have.
Personally, I prefer working with bands that have very little knowledge or less knowledge. Sometimes when I'm working with the bands, they'll be like, the drummer, he's an engineer too. And like, can you make my snare sound like it's on the middle of a football field and you're hearing it 50 yards away? I'm like, okay, but that's going to kill everyone's time or, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked
Only up
with,
for that.
as an engineer, I'm also an engineer, like I was saying. So when I'm in the control room, I've had musicians hover over me
Yeah.
that were better than me. So I'm not as fast. right, when I'm editing, because I'm new to mixing. I'm learning
totally.
mixing. So yeah, like you said, sometimes it's better if the person doesn't know, because then they rely on your expertise. Right?
Well, that helps my ego. Yeah, I'll take that.
But Don,
He's the man.
What do you think? Like, what's
You
been
like
your
working with
experience?
experienced engineers or people that know less?
Well, I'm an engineer. I mean, I've never worked with another engineer, really.
Okay.
But like as you're recording a band, do you prefer bands that are also like have engineers in that band?
I don't care really, one way or another. I mean, it's nice for people to have opinions. I want people to chime in on the whole thing.
Yeah.
A little story, jumping back into the diarrhea pit.
It all goes back to that.
Yeah.
Continue.
We were mixing a Fugazi record. Actually, it was right downstairs. It was before we moved. And how can I put this?
I have to stop you, Don. If you're going to tell a story from the book, that's copyright.
No, it's not.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure.
One of the members brought in some dried apricots. And myself
Favorite.
and he finished off the whole bag.
Sugar and fiber. Yeah, I see where this is going.
It was just the biggest disaster. I mean, the other members had to mix the record. We were out of the room.
Out of
Suffocating.
commission.
Out of commission.
That'll happen.
yes.
So if I could
will.
just embarrass Don for a minute, not that wasn't slightly embarrassing, but if I could embarrass Don, one thing that I've noticed, because I've seen Don work with people who, I don't know if they were more talented than you, but they certainly thought they knew more.
Nobody is, Alex.
I know,
Nobody.
I know. But they certainly thought they knew more.
Gift and a curse.
But Don has a way, and this is a good advice for all of us. This is something I've noticed about, because of the way Don treats people, they oftentimes in turn treat him the same way. Like I have seen him deal with people who have been absolute horrible people to people, including myself. But his nature and his way in which he deals with people will then be reflected back to him. Not all the time. I've seen people be a dick to you before. But for the most part, like you do seem like you get what you take in return.
It's very quiet.
I could see how that would work.
Yeah.
It's just sort of the chill translates,
Yeah,
and
totally.
sometimes people pick up on that because it sucks having someone over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because it is like sometimes you're like, I know you know more than me, but I'm fucking doing it. I'm the one behind the desk.
Yeah. There's a lot of gatekeeping, a lot of like that machismo in the field.
Yeah.
Monica, I was reading an excerpt from the book, and I think it was Dante, the book of Don. The Inner Ear of Don Cintara. And I think it was Dante Ferrando who was saying it was Iron Cross years, and he said they were just like really high strung. They had a lot of energy. They wanted to get it out, but they'd get frustrated. And Don was just the opposite. He was the yin to the yang, zen, calm. He said we appreciated his calming influence on us, and I think that's wonderful.
Well, it's
Lord knows I get high strung, and
it's
and
part
you
of just letting it go. Just
you help me let it go, just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
So that
such
vibe
an
that-
even keel.
The vibe you were talking about, that's 75% Don. That's Don.
75%.
95%.
Okay, that's better.
95% done, because he's created an atmosphere that allows people to feel creative, but also that they can express themselves to the limit of which is appropriate within the context of where we are. And that, I hope like that's something that I try to pass forward to other people as best I can. And I hope that, that helps you, when you're performing in front of people, that you realize that, the stakes are only as high as you want them to be. Yeah. But what's awesome is that you've put those stakes up so high, because if you didn't, well, not to take it back to where being, then we would just be watching your practice,
Yep.
And that's fine, but that's sometimes not what people want to pay to see, which I know is not always fair, but unfortunately that's where we're at,
I'd like to commend you for circling it back to the band. Yeah, that was awesome from a StageCraft point of view. Yes, more of that. All right, so my cat the other day,
I do love your cat when a cat comes up, though.
yeah, every episode. Yeah.
Coda. Shout out to Coda.
Yeah.
Batman.
I think that, if there's, whether you're in a band or you are recording a band, I don't know how you feel about it. What do you think? I expect everyone to do the job that they have.
Yeah.
Play bass, drums, guitar, sing, and that's, if everyone's doing it, I mean, that's calming in a sense. It's sort of like this machine that's rolling
Yeah.
along. That's
Everything
really
is-
great.
Well, I think the tension cuts when you have a second to remember that like you're all working towards the same end goal.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter who you're working with, who you bring into the studio. Like if they're there to make sure that this product comes out the way that we all want it to come out. And like engineers on that page, producers on that page, drummer, bass player, guitarist, anyone who's there. It's like we all have the same end goal, the same dream in sight, and like we all want it to work. So any tension that there is like immediately absolved when you're like, wait, we're all playing for the same team. Like nobody should be mad at each other. We're just gonna keep working it until it works.
That's such a good point. And I think also, just for me, it's been learning to respect the fact that other people hear other things and like having confidence and trust in like Sam to hear things about drums that I would never hear, and like Will hear things about bass that I'm not going to hear. Because I know personally, I expend a lot of energy trying to remain calm when I don't feel so at all. Particularly like when it comes to recording, I like recording, but I find it very anxiety inducing, and like nothing ever sounds exactly the way I want it, and that always frustrates me. I'm very happy with the EP we're about to put out, but
It took a while to get there.
It took a while to get there, and so I've really found like sanctuary almost in the sense that I can have my like conniption, and then it's like, okay, but if Will and Sam are like okay with this, then it can't be that bad.
Let go and let God.
So you have to let go, and actually, like honestly, it's like almost like a trust fall a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you say it's not bad, then I'm just gonna have to relax and let it be.
Performing is easier, really, in a sense.
Yeah.
Once it's out there, it's just
It's
out
done.
there.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a
Play
moment.
that note, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
It lives
Go
once.
back.
Yeah, and you know, for performers on stage, I expect them all to have a good, healthy ego, because that's what gets them going. And that's what keeps them playing. That's what gets them wanting to play as well as they should.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you show me a performer that doesn't have a good ego, it's kind of a failed performer.
Yeah.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
It is. And you could see it in their eyes, too.
Right.
yeah.
Alex, you're shaking your head.
No, I wasn't shaking my head.
Oh.
No, I totally agree. I mean, if you didn't have ego, what the fuck am I looking at? You know, then we'd just be
Right.
an amoeba. And that's not, I mean, there are places for that, like, like a drum circle. Or a jam session, right? Like losing yourself in the
Meditation.
moment. Meditation,
Yoga
losing
class.
yourself in the moment, being one with everything.
Are you suggesting there's no egos involved in drum circles?
That is false.
Well, I know
That is, I know from
Drum solo
experience.
last time.
I know we are speaking. I think.
Have you met a cajon player?
of something, not the
Like
execution.
support roles is what you're trying to say,
Yeah,
right?
that there's a moment, and not to take it to jazz, but jazz is very much rooted in the idea of democracy, right? Which is that everyone has a moment to step up and to take the moment to shine, and then you also know when it's time to stop playing as loud, but you still got to play, because guess what? I still got to hear it, right?
Yeah.
You still got to hold it down, and then sometimes you got to just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because the strength is in the ensemble. That's where the power is.
And everyone has their strength, and not everyone knows and listens for the same things, and not everyone can play the same instruments, right? So you just got to, and the other day I was walking down the street on Georgia Avenue, and this lady said the most beautiful thing to me. She looked at me and she goes, "Are you ready?" And I was like, I don't know. What am I ready for? And she goes, "You got to be ready to play your note. You got to be ready to play your note." And I was like, I am. And then I waited for like 4 hours. Nothing happened. But the point is that her point was important. I have to be ready to play my note. We all have to be ready to play our note, right?
That was the Archangel Gabriel talking to you.
Well, I was asking for Raphael.
Profound.
And I was like, yo, can you call him? Yeah.
Have you seen? I'm sorry, maybe not, but I don't know how popular or not this is. But my boyfriend showed me this video of I'm not gonna massacre this. It's not a xylophone player. It's
Marimba?
Vibraphone.
What did you just say?
Vibraphone.
It was that.
Ah, the
It
metal
was a
one.
vibraphone player. It looks like
It's like a marimba, but with pickups on it.
But-
It's metallic.
Studio, right?
I have timpani, but not vibraphones. I wish.
it was a
I'm talking my
vibraphone.
wife into it soon. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, there was a vibraphone player who apparently he was playing with like an orchestra, and he had a solo, and then I think maybe something had changed between rehearsal and then what actually went down. But he was taking a solo, and he was just so jovial, and you could tell, like my instrument is so slept on, no one cares about me, but this is my time. And then these other parts came in and started to sort of eclipse his solo. and he lost his whole shit. And he started destroying his vibraphone with the mallet, which didn't look that hard.
Those are expensive.
So,
We're gonna need to put that link like on the website or something
Yeah.
for context here.
But
It'll be in the
it was
description.
fascinating to watch.
Cite your source.
Yeah, the ire of the scorned vibraphone player.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're all that vibraphone player.
Yeah.
you know?
Sometimes,
Can
yeah.
happen.
Yeah. What's the internet meme with the guy smashing his head on the keyboard?
Oh yeah,
That one is me as well sometimes. We do have to wrap it up. I apologize. This has been so much fun, and we have run the gamut.
yeah.
Can we ask a little bit more of you? Can you introduce the program and introduce yourselves? Just say the name of the band and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So let's do that real quick. I know it seems like we're live right now, but we're not.
Yeah,
just recording.
totally.
Okay, so if you could just say like, hey, this is StageCraft on WERA, and we are Massie, that would be super duper.
Yeah,
do
if
it like
each one could do it.
yeah,
Actually.
each one, and then maybe one
Totally.
in unison, just a few takes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, this is StageCraft.
No, it's not. This is what she worries about.
Brutal.
This is what I worry about. WERE.
Oh, I thought that was a firework. WERA.
WERA.
WE.
We are A. We are A.
Okay.
Yeah. Kat, why don't you start?
Take it away.
Hey, you're listening to DRW.
It's catching.
Hey, everybody. Hi, everybody. This is StageCraft on WERA, and we are talking to Massie.
This is StageCraft on WERA. You're listening to Massie.
This is StageCraft on WERA, and we are Massie.
Hi, welcome to StageCraft on WERA. We are Massie.
Also, I don't think we said this, but we're like a power pop punk alt rock band.
No,
Yeah, we're a band.
Find
Oh,
WERA
I also,
96.7
I also
FM.
definitely.
In it.
yeah, do it again.
Do another
For your
intro.
Roth
I also,
IRA.
I didn't intro.
Intro?
Yeah, with
I didn't
that in
intro-
it.
Radio
investment
Arlington.
firm.
Arlington.
Got you. This is StageCraft on WERA, and we are Massie, a power pop / punk / alt rock band from Washington, D.C.
I also just realized I didn't introduce myself earlier when we did the.
Point that out.
Yeah.
The moment is slipping.
Should I do that?
Yes, please.
We can always put it in post.
Cool.
We'll do it live.
Hi, I'm Samantha Collings, and I am the drummer of Massie.
Another one in you. One more take.
With feeling.
Well, now I'm scared. Hi, I'm Samantha Collings, and I am the drummer of Massie.
All right, can we do one more? And this time, just over the top, overzealous, like
Okay.
almost embarrassing.
You got it.
Hey, everybody, this is StageCraft on WERA, and you are listening to Massie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In unison?
All right, are we doing? Hi, everybody.
This is
StageCraft on WERA, and
this
you're
is Massie.
and you're listening to Massie.
And you're listening to Massie?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right,
Over the top thing.
All right.
counting us off.
Send
Yeah.
it.
3, 2, 1. Hey,
everybody.
everybody. Oh,
This is StageCraft.
all right. Everyone or everybody?
Everyone.
Everyone?
Everybody.
Everybody
Okay.
sounds better.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Hey, everybody.
You're
on
listening to StageCraft.
I think this may.
We got it.
Okay, wait. Let's just do, hey, everybody, this is Massie.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Hey, everybody. This is Massie.
On StageCraft.
On StageCraft.
I didn't mean that.
On WERA. 1, 2, 3. On WERA.
96.7.
There's something there. There has to be something usable.
Please.
Well, thank you guys so much for
having us. This was amazing.
Great job. Great job.
Great.
Hey, John, can you do that on the, can you do it on the, what do you call it for me? Is the bathroom this way? The drive.
on the
Yeah.
side?
Yeah. I gotta go to, can I get that board? Yes, I do. Because I have to get going. I just want to say bye to the thing.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for
Yeah, that
having
was so fun.
us.
Good
This
job.
was, like,
That was so much fun.
great.
Yeah, it was totally fun.
Where are you guys gigging next?
October 15th?
October 13th.
October 13th at the Black Cat.
No, listen, I appreciate